It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. It's also live on all our partner stations across the country and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obuobi-Sakoman, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Owusu-Kumi.
Coming up in the next 1 hour, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh joins the Electricity Company of Ghana's Revenue Mobilization Task Force team in Accra in its debt recovery exercise. Meanwhile, the ECG in the Central Region disconnects administration block and masters bungalows of the Infantsiman Girls SHS over debt owed the power company.
We have to disconnect the masters bungalow and then ended up disconnecting the administration block of the Infantsiman Girls Secondary School.
Also coming up, government absorbs itself from any blame over the undue delay in the construction of the General Hospital project after it was pulled down 3 years ago.
Remember, the planning was poor. The planning was going on all very well, but you all know what happened since the end of 2019, 2020, 2021, all the things that we've gone through. So people are sitting around the table to make sure that something happens as quickly as possible.
And later, Basis 2 Paramountcy issues a 6-month window from April 19 to persons illegally occupying Basis 2 lands to surrender them. Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is live on all our partner stations across the country. In the Upper West region, you are listening to us on Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli and Jirapa 96.1 FM. In the Upper East, you are listening to us on Rekas 92.1 FM in Bongo-Namu. In the Northern region, we are on North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. In the Northeast region, we are on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigu. In the Western region, we are on Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Ashanti region, we are on Focus 94.3 FM on KNUST campus and Orange 107.9 FM, both in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we are on Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala and Holy FM 98.5 FM in Aflao. And in the Savannah region, we are on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. Now, the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has joined the Electricity Company of Ghana's Revenue Mobilization Task Force team in Accra in its debt recovery exercise. My colleague Fred Duho is with the team and has joined us over the phone lines to tell us more. Good afternoon, Fred. Many thanks for your time. Now, tell us about today's exercise that has this august personality.
Yes, so today's exercise generally has been one that the Energy Minister has accompanied the task force of the Electricity Company of Ghana to, as it were, recoup some money that some customers do owe the Electricity Company of Ghana. So essentially, the Minister of Energy accompanied them in order to witness firsthand how the task force has been embarking on the exercise for the past 1 month. Don't forget, the exercise ends tomorrow, and they are trying as much as possible to catch up with their target.
Now, how much have they been able to rake in so far?
Yes, so far, from what the managing director of ECG told us, or granted an interview on face-to-face, he indicated that they've realized about 2 billion Ghana cedis so far. But we are hoping that by the end of today's exercise, we may get some information as to how much the company has been able to recoup through this 1 month exercise. Generally, they are not meeting the target from where we stand now, or from what we gather, the 5.7 billion target. I can say that they've not realized yet because we've not had much of an information on that. But I believe the external communications manager can better shed some light on what they've been doing so far, and as the exercise ends tomorrow, how they hope to probably continue. Welcome to Citi Prime News.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Yes, so you a guest joining you today. What was the arrangement, or what is he expected to do on the team today?
Well, the minister has stated that he's not satisfied with the amount that we've collected, albeit quite satisfactory. MD revealed this week that we've been able to collect just over 2 billion Ghana cedis. And the minister is asking why we haven't at least reached 80% of the 5.7 billion that we are owed out there. And so today he's joined the National Task Force to see how best we can collect more money, and just to understand from the customer's view why they still owe ECG. So he's joined us today for a short period to understand the process of how we're collecting our money.
Well, so the minister probably he's been in the office or may not be part of the task force. You have been with the task force. What can you tell us about not achieving this target?
We're being mindful of the fact that there are several parameters that play in the business, in our business, in their business. And so we are quite understanding when we arrive at the premises and they're able to give us 50%. And then we do a follow-up. And then after that, we expect that 100% money would be collected. But our debt is in categories. Aside from the private sector, we also have some that reside with the MMDAs and the other companies that are not really in the position to make very quick or swift payments. We've been able to make a very good progress so far, but it's not been good enough. And so we are thinking of continuing the following month.
When you say you're going to continue the following month, what formats are you going to adopt differently to ensure that the subsequent targets are met?
We're just coming from one company that has made payments today. I think we sent the signal out there clearly that at the end of the month, when you receive your bill, in 14 days, would be on your back. Now we are going to ensure that after we send bills to our customers, 14 days, we are on everyone's back to pay us.
The minister obviously may not be happy with how far you've come, basically because he felt you should have attained at least 80% of your target. That has not been achieved. Going forward, in terms of the modality or modus operandi of this whole operation, are you going to go out with the same force, or you're going to adopt a different technology?
Well, it's basically the same. It's working for us. And so what's working for us would continue. We only intensify it. We're taking less excuses because we feel like we've given a lot of people the leeway. They know what we are in for. And so the excuses are being cut. Like when we went to this first company, now we weren't going to leave without them making 100% payment. And a lot of companies are coming in to make payments. And so we're just hoping that in the following month, our collection rates will increase. And mind you, when our collection rates increase, the tariffs will reduce.
Now we are in the premises of Coca-Cola. This is a multinational company. How much did they owe you, or what are you here to do?
Per our documents, they owe us about 1.2 million Ghana cedis, and so we are here to see how much we can.
Coca-Cola also owes you 1.2 million.
Yes, they do.
That's quite huge.
That is, and that's the situation for a lot of the companies. Usually they say that they haven't received a bill, but if you've been billed before, you know your estimated consumption. If there's a tariff increment of about 50%, you can just make a calculation and see that if you're making payments for the past few months in a certain amount, to show that you do have good faith with the business, make the same payment, even though you haven't received a bill from us. That's what we're trying to encourage our customers.
Well, let go of you. Has there been any prosecution so far? We've uncovered a number of illegalities in the system so far. Has anyone been prosecuted or anyone facing prosecution?
Well, the biggest hit right now is Hillbury, which everyone knows because theirs was quite massive. The residentials have also been, some of them have been put before the court. We've just gotten a judge for the utilities court. And so a lot of the processes will continue soon.
Thank you. So, Wilma, that is the External Communications Manager, Leila Bubakari, just heard speaking to us live, indicating that, well, in as much as the minister may not be enthused with how much they've collected so far, they believe they've been on course, or the progress they've made so far has been significant. But it is something they hope to continue and to ensure that the enthusiasm with which they started with the national exercise do not die down.
Thank you so much for that update. That was my colleague Fred Duho giving us an update, and he's with the ECG Revenue Mobilization Task Force, bringing us all that we need to know about their exercise. We'll go to the Ashanti region, where the Electricity Company of Ghana has also disconnected the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation after have reconnected, I beg your pardon, the Ashanti regional branch of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation after disconnecting it from the national grid 5 days ago due to the non-payment of bills. According to the management of ECG, the decision to reconnect GBC is as a result of a payment plan that had been developed and adopted by the two parties. The ECG has, however, debunked rumors that the Ashanti Regional Police Headquarters has also been disconnected. The Ashanti Regional Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Engineer David Bwedi Asamoah, who disclosed this to Citi News, described the revenue mobilization exercise in the region as largely successful.
But the Ghana Central Police Command in Ashanti has not been disconnected. That's I can say that for a fact. No, the Regional Police Command, we wrote a letter to them. I wrote a letter personally to them for assistance to identify all the meeting points within the Ashanti region. And graciously, they did so well. They gave us their own people to lead us. Because some of the places that they showed that we didn't even know it was for police, because it was bearing private names. But the police rented it. So they took us there, we've taken all the particulars. While we need to do some recoveries, we'll do the recoveries, and we've agreed that they are prepared to pay for it. So there was no need going to disconnect the police when in reality we are benefiting so much rather from the work that we are doing with them. Generally, the exercise has been smooth and it's been very good considering the various amounts that people owed us, and then what we've been able to recover now. I can say that it's very good. It's been very, very good exercise.
That was the Ashanti Regional Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Engineer David Bwedi Asamoah. We'll go to the Central Region because the Electricity Company of Ghana there has disconnected power to the administration block and masters bungalows of the Infantiman Girls Secondary School in Solpon for owing an amount of 316,000 cedis. The administration and masters bungalow of the Biriwa Secondary Technical School were also disconnected for failing to pay an amount of 130,000 cedis. The Infantiman Municipal Assembly escaped disconnection after paying 20,000 cedis out of a total amount of 30,000 cedis owed to the power distribution company. Some shops in the Solpon market were also disconnected. According to the Central Regional Commercial Manager for ECG, Simon Babite, his outfit has been able to mobilize 64 million cedis out of a total of 260 million cedis owed the company.
We went to Biriwa Secondary Technical School. Some of the masters bungalows there were owing so much. So we have to disconnect the masters bungalows that were owing. And then those that were spared were those who were able to pay their bills and then pay in full. From there, we moved to the Infantiman Assembly, of which they were also owing us around 26,000 cedis. As at February, they've paid 20,000 cedis today, and then the rest of the 6,000, they are going to pay it before Thursday. From there, we went to Infantiman Girls Secondary School. The masters bungalows were also owing, so we have to disconnect the masters bungalow, and then we ended up disconnecting the administration block of the Infantiman Girls Secondary School. And then we are back here to the Southport Township, the Market Square. Most of the stores here were owing. We took them off. Some of them have to pay, and then we make sure that they paid in full before we reconnected them. For the first 4 weeks, we were able to mobilize around 64 million Ghana cedis, which is very encouraging because prior to that, our monthly revenue over around 38 to 40 million every month. So if we are able to mobilize 64 million Ghana cedis for the first 4 weeks, it is very encouraging. We need money to pay power generators. We need money to pay our staff. We need money to buy transformers and other things so that we can serve them better. By the end of the exercise on Thursday, our target is to collect at least 50% of our total indebtedness.
That was the Central Regional Commercial Manager for the Electricity Company of Ghana, Simon Babite. We are joined over the phone lines by Central Regional Correspondent Calvis Tete, who is with the team in the Central Region. Good afternoon, Calvis. The team has been really busy this morning. Run us through where they have been.
Well, the team, according to the management of the Electricity Company of Ghana, customers owe them to the tune of 260 million Ghana cedis. And for that matter, it is time to go down to the doorsteps of the customers to collect these monies. So because of this, they went round this morning, went to the Mpansaman Girls Senior High School, the Briwa Secondary Technical School, where the administration of these two schools and then the Masters Bungalow owe them certain amount of money. Interestingly, they also went to the Mpansaman Municipal Assembly, where they also owe them to the tune of 26,000 Ghana cedi. But the assembly managed to pay 20,000 just then, and so they were connected back to the national grid. But for the Mpansaman Senior High School and then the Briwa Secondary Technical School, they have made promises to come and then pay so that they are connected.
What has been the response of these schools that have been disconnected?
Well, the schools that were disconnected, authorities refused to speak to us. But the information we picked around indicated that, they said they are making plans to go and then pay. And for that matter, they would have wished that they were still connected to the national grid. But then the ECG officials are saying that they cannot continue to give them power, knowing very well that they have served them well and that they need to pay back. So for that matter, they just needed to take them off the national grid. They also went through some communities in Kaswa and elsewhere where individuals have made illegal connections and all that. So far, 5 individuals were also arrested since the commencement of the exercise. 5 individuals have been arrested and have been handed over to the police for onward action. According to the management, this will serve as a deterrent to individuals who are bypassing the various meters to connect to the national grid without paying.
Thank you very much for that update. That was our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, bringing us up to speed about the activities of the Electricity Company of Ghana in the region.
The government has absorbed itself of any blame over the undue delay in the construction of the La General Hospital project. It has been 3 years since government pulled down the structure over concerns of poor structural integrity. In its place, the government promised to build a modern hospital. The delay has become a subject of frequent community agitations and political blame game. Presidential advisor Dr. Anthony Nsiasari tells host of Eyewitness News Umaru Sanda that government cannot be blamed.
Now, government is working on it, and they should be very patient. Very soon, they will see some action at La General Hospital premises.
The action is taking a little too long, isn't it?
Yes, as you are aware, there was supposed to be a facility to do it, and it didn't go through 100%. So the president has charged that a team from the Ministry of Health and then the Office of the Chief of Staff should work on it and make sure that something happens there as quickly as possible.
Would the government accept that you were poor in your planning? It appears that you were not ready, you were not prepared. You just demolished the building that was already there without putting funds and the necessary resources on standby.
See, the question we should ask ourselves if the building which was there was habitable. There was a lot of, even when I was the Director General of Ghana Health Service, that's where we started looking at the integrity of the building. And it was a very dangerous building, a lot of cracks, and at any time it could have fallen down. And I'm sure nobody would have forgiven anybody, especially in government, if that place which was harboring patients, sick patients who cannot even run, especially when there's a disaster. So for one reason or the other, that building was supposed to be demolished. And that's the reason why together, the ministry together with consultation with the chiefs and people at that place have to demolish it with a hope. And then everybody was hopeful that the contractors who are already there would have started work as quickly as possible. And by now, as you rightly said, maybe we have finished the hospital. But man took supposes and sometimes God supposes. So remember that the planning was poor. The planning was going on all very well, but you all know what happened since the end of 2019, 2020, 2021, all the things that we've gone through. So people are sitting around the table to make sure that something happens as quickly as possible. We are considering a lot of questions, and I think the details will come out very soon from the Ministry of Health.
So do we have any timelines that we can work with?
But actually, the details of when we start and what we are going to do there will come out very soon. It will be duly announced.
You heard Dr. Anthony Insiansari. He's the presidential advisor on health.
This is still the City Prime News, live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, Tamale High Court sentences a tipper truck driver to 14 years imprisonment for conspiracy to commit robbery and robbery. We'll bring you details of that story and others. Do stay with us.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Listen up, people. There's good news for Airtel Tigo customers who haven't started and those who are yet to complete their SIM re-registration. Yes, good news. Complete your SIM re-registration and get free 5GB data falla to browse, chat, Zoom, TikTok, Snap, and do more on Airtel Tigo to change your world. If your SIM has been blocked, don't worry. You can have your number back and also get a whopping 5GB data as soon as you register with your Ghana card. Simply visit the nearest Airtel Tigo shop or agent today. Complete your SIM registration now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, a first-year student of the Koforidua Sarkodie Basic A School has been assaulted by his guardians for allegedly stealing 50 cedis. The boy, Samuel Ejeteria, is said to have admitted to stealing the money to prevent further assault. The student who lost his mother at birth has been staying with his auntie and her husband who have allegedly been maltreating him. According to Citi News sources at the school, the guardians who accused the boy of stealing the money subjected him to severe beatings with an iron rod, inflicting deep cuts around his left eye. The boy then admitted to the crime, indicating the money was given to a schoolmate, which forced the guardians to march him to school. The guardians were angered by his failure to identify his alleged accomplice, leading to more beatings in the presence of students and teachers. The teachers then called in the police, who came to escort the student and his guardians to the police station.
Now, the High Court in Tamale has sentenced a truck driver to 40 years in prison for conspiracy to commit robbery and robbery. Adamu Issa, together with his accomplice, Wan Al-Hassan, who is at large, on May 24, 2022, hijacked a Toyota Hilux pickup at Gwanyamni in Tamale at gunpoint and robbed the driver of his belongings. He was arrested and arraigned. Investigators searched the accused person's home and found some of the items, including a pen drive, laptops, and other items which linked the convict to the crime. Meanwhile, the convict is currently standing trial for another robbery offense which occurred in 2016. In that case, he allegedly stole a Toyota Hilux pickup belonging to MTN. He was arrested in Togo and handed over to the Ghana police. Information available to Citi News indicates that a convict has been involved in several car snatching incidents in the northern region, and it is believed that he operates with an international syndicate. Between 2016 and 2022, over 4 vehicles, including a V8 belonging to the National Democratic Congress Vice Chair Sofo Azoka, were snatched at gunpoint in Tamale.
Now, the Gbese to paramountcy in the Greater Accra region has issued a 6-month ultimatum to persons occupying the Gbese Stew lands illegally to surrender them. The Gbese Stew says there have been dubious and fraudulent means in disposing of the stew lands, which have been declared null and void by the court. Speaking at the royal launch of the Gbese paramountcy, the principal kingmaker of the Gbese Stew, Ni Okai Kasablofo V, says his outfit would be compelled to use aggressive measures in recovering the lost lands after the ultimatum elapses.
The litigations have come to an end, and it will come no more. And let us all rally solidly behind His Royal Majesty, Dr. Aibu II, Gbese Manche, and unite Gbese and its people. The new Gbese paramountcy wishes to re-echo that Gbese Stew lands which are in wrongful hands or illegally acquired must be surrendered to the Gbese Stew paramountcy without fail. And that after the amnesty of 6 months granted commencing 19th April 2023, which is today, no extension of the amnesty will be entertained, and that the Gbese Stew paramountcy will pursue aggressive measures to retrieve or recover these lost lands or properties. It has to be stressed that there is no entity called Gbese Kole, and I repeat, it has to be stressed that there is no entity called Gbese Kole, and that it was a measure which was taken to alienate or dispose of Gbese Stew lands through dubious and fraudulent means, and that it has been declared null and void by the courts.
He also announced plans by the Stew to register market queens within the jurisdiction of the Gbese traditional area to enable them contribute their quota to the development of Gbese.
There are 40 or more markets on all Gbese Stew lands with market queens and on them. It is pathetic that these markets and their queens contribute nothing to the Gbese Stew and its developmental needs, and that they should have a sober reflection on their actions and inactions. Otherwise, unprecedented sanctions will be applied to them. It must be noted that these market queens will be registered by the Gbese Stew paramountcy and be guided to enable them contribute their quota to the advancement of the Gbese state.
Ni Okain Kasablofo is the principal kingmaker of the Gbese Stew.
Now, management of the Tema Oil Refinery is advising workers who are planning to picket over the state of affairs in the company to tread cautiously. This follows a notice served by the workers to embark on a series of actions, including picketing at the Jubilee House, Ministry of Energy and other strategic locations, as several calls and meetings with management and government officials have yielded no results. However, in a statement cited by Citi News and signed by the managing director of the company, Jeffrey Hansen, the company said workers whose actions disrupt the activities of the company will be dealt with.
3 weeks after the reopening of schools, Citi News checks in public basic schools in Kumasi metropolis of the Ashanti region show that caterers under the government school feeding program have refused to cook for pupils. This comes after the caterers announced their decision to withdraw services following government's failure to pay their arrears. The caterers are also demanding that the amount per student be increased from 97 pesos to 3 cedis. During Citi News' visit to some schools in Kumasi, the heads of schools stated that although it has not had any significant impact on the attendance of students, parents have been complaining about the financial burden it has brought on them. Here are some parents speaking to Citi News.
From first term, my caterer stopped cooking from the first term. So the whole of the first term we didn't eat. And second term too, she has not been cooking for them.
So even before they went on strike, for you first time, no one that you didn't receive food.
I didn't. The children didn't eat from the caterer. According to her, she has not been paid, and she cannot continue to borrow from the creditors. So she has stopped cooking for them.
For the caterers, since we school open, they have not come. I inquired, and then I was told they are on strike due to one or two reasons that they have with their employers. So they are not in school by now. We opened school 3 weeks now, and they are not in. And we are coping too.
But how is their absence impacting their attendance?
Oh, mostly our people, since when the school feeding started, we were not part. So we have been coping since then, and the enrollment too is still up, and the attendance too is okay. There are not a lot of. We were beginning when they started, we were not part, and then when this administration came, then we were added.
The school feeding program has been very good. It has been very effective for all these years until recently when the caterers informed us that they have challenged with release of funds to them to be able to prepare the meals for the students. So recently they have almost stopped providing the foods to the students. Those of us who will be able to pay for our children or will be able to feed our children as it is supposed to be, we are doing our best. But there are some parents who are unable to feed their children when they come to school. And for that matter, sometimes the children don't come to school at all. So if the government will be able to release funds on time to support the system, I think it will help the parents who are on the low side in terms of financial matters. The children, knowing that they were going to be fed in schools and it is not coming as it used to be, psychologically they are not happy. And then also, personally, I think if it is ongoing right now, if I'm to spend maybe 10 cedis a day, I could have spent 5 and then leave 5 for other issues.
You had there some heads of schools, of some basic schools in the Ashanti region expressing their worry about the school feeding caterers who have been absent all this while. We'll go over the phone lines and speak to Ashanti regional correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim. She's been visiting some of these schools to tell us more. Good afternoon, Fatih. This must be difficult for parents. Tell us about it.
Yes, hi, Wilma. It's indeed very difficult for most of the parents and in fact, most of the people as well, because for most of the schools that we visited, we realized that even though the decision of the caterers not to cook has not necessarily affected the attendance, however, you can tell from the mood of the people that they are not really happy about it at all. In fact, for a few of them that we spoke to, when I asked them, what have you been fed? Have they been bringing you guys food? The demeanor, the facial expression with which some of these people expressed the fact that they've not been given food, it was really sad. They were telling us that they've not been giving them food for this semester, for this term, sorry. And then with the parents, with one of them I spoke to, he mentioned that even though his child still goes to school, he has to increase the amount of school fee and amount of money he gives to his child when going to school. So even though, yes, they still go to school, but it's really affecting the parents instead. And for most of the schools that we visited to, one particular headmistress of a KG mentioned that for her, from last term, her caterer has not been coming because according to her, the caterer mentioned that she hasn't been paid for first term and this term as well. So for her situation is very difficult because for her, especially because with her school, most of them are very young. They are under 7 years. And so when they come and they don't get extra money for feeding, they end up begging from their mates. So according to her, she sometimes sees some of the children begging for food from some of their mates because to them, they don't get extra money from their parents. And here's the case where a school feeding food is equally not coming. And so they have to beg for food from their mates in class. And so the situation is very difficult for most of the people and the students as well. And even with some of the head teachers as well, they are not really happy with what is happening at all. For some of them who refuse to speak to us when we engage them on condition of anonymity, they mention that with what is happening, yes, the people still go to school, but you can tell during break time when they are expecting the food to come and it's not coming, their demeanor changes. They are not really happy, especially with those who don't have money to go and buy. For those who can afford the food, they are not able to buy as much as they would want to, and those who can't afford to, they are always in class and they are not happy at all with what is happening. So yes, indeed, for 3 weeks now since school resumed, since 10th semester, with second term resumed, the caterers have not been providing food for the pupils in the basic schools.
Have we heard from these caterers? It's been 3 weeks now. What are their concerns exactly? When they intend to return?
According to them, for most of the caterers I spoke to, they are not returning until government pays all arrears. Also, even if he pays the arrears and does not increase the amount from the 97 pesos to cities, they are still not going to provide the food. And in fact, most of the schools we visited, the head teachers took us to where they prepare the food, and all those places have been locked. You can tell that the places have been locked for weeks. No one has been there. They don't even visit the schools because they don't have the money, and most of them, they owe their creditors. They don't have the money to pay them, and government too has refused to pay them. So they can't. There's nothing they can do about the situation, and so they are not cooking until government tells them something, or government pays all arrears and also increase the amount from the 97 pesos to series, because according to them, they are facing a lot of hardship and their creditors still have been chasing them. And if government does not pay, there's nothing they can do about the situation.
Well, we really hope that government heeds to their call so that these students may have something to eat. And that was our Ashanti regional correspondent, Fatih Aminu Ibrahim.
Now, the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana has threatened to embark on a nationwide strike next week in solidarity with members at the University of Cape Coast. The members of the UCC local chapter of the association have laid down their tools over the failure of management to work on their negotiated allowances, conditions of service and promotions. Speaking to Citi News, National President Isaac Donko said if these concerns are not addressed, they would withdraw their service in all public universities in the country.
They've reported this case to Labour Commission. The parties were invited. Directives were given that UCC management should sit down with UCC local chapter leadership to have this consent resolved. For the past 11 months, it will interest you to know that they've never engaged my local leadership. They've written to them again, so they are not ready to engage them. It means they don't have respect for the local association and by extension, the national leadership. So they've summoned this thing before National Labour Commission. Commission also not doing anything, and they have to lay down their tools. It will interest you to know that I had a private discussion with the Director for Tertiary Education, and he was even threatening that if they go on strike, we're going to lay all of them off. And there's an unfortunate statement from the higher authority. And we want to preach industrial harmony, but our leaders are not showing good faith. So they've started a strike, and we are saying that by next week, Wednesday, if the management of the school, that is UCC management, fail to address these concerns, the whole Ghana Senior Staff Association will be on strike for the support of our local chapter.
That was Isaac Donko, the National President of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana. Meanwhile, the leadership of the senior staff of the University of Cape Coast and the university's management are in a meeting with the National Labour Commission to address the issue. Now, some news from the presidency. President Akufo-Addo has nominated Paul Andor as the new municipal chief executive for Bibiani Anhwiaso Bekwai in the Western North region. He is set to replace Alfred Amwa, who died in a motor accident in July last year. The notice was given to the Western North Minister by the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Dan Botwe. A special meeting would soon be held by the Assembly members to consider the nomination by the President.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, one of the NPP parliamentary aspirants for the upcoming Kumewu by-elections, Edward Kofi Osei, has withdrawn from the race. We'll bring you details of that story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winning. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker that offers you a huge range of bonuses, great odds, and many chances to win. Register now on 1xBet.com.gh and use promo code PLAY1 to get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. 1xBet gives you more. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Let's spend Easter together. This Easter holidays, whatever you do, make sure you spend the break with DSTV. That's right. It's time to kick back, relax with all the action and the drama from the Premier League and all our great football content. Bring on the laughter and the fun with the best holiday entertainment in Africa with brand new blockbusters and series and the freshest entertainment for kids. Get your decoder today for just 269 Ghana cedis. Renew your subscription using *759#. DSTV, it's your moment.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for staying with us. We'll continue with the bulletin. And one of the NPP parliamentary aspirants for the upcoming Kumewu by-elections, Edward Kofi Osei, has withdrawn from the race. He denied assertions that he was disqualified during the vetting, which was held on Sunday, April 16, 2023. Mr. Kofi Osei and one other prospective aspirant, Philip Bano, were not on the list when the party issued the notice of poll for its upcoming internal elections to choose a candidate for the by-elections. We'll go over the phone lines and speak to Ashanti Regional Correspondent Hafiz Tijani, who was at this presser to tell us more. Hafiz, many thanks for your time. What has been the reason for the NPP parliamentary aspirant withdrawing from the race?
Well, he said that he withdrew from the race because he wants sanity to prevail in the constituency and that there should be peace in the constituency. He says that he has served the MPP not from today and he has contributed to the development of the party and he has lived in the United States of America for over 30 years and he owns properties there. And giving up some of these opportunities to not to contest or to contest in this election, he believes that is something that he would do to serve the interest of the party. And this does not mean that he is going to relent or stop supporting the party because he's still an active member of the New Patriotic Party and he will continue to serve the New Patriotic Party because he believes that the New Patriotic Party runs through his blood and he took that decision to contest in the Kumewu constituency because he wanted to transform the constituency and also ensure that the constituency or the constituents in the Kumewu constituency are empowered to be able to also have a share of the national cake. So lawyer Edward Osei is here with me currently, and he'll be telling us the exact reasons why he opted out of the race ahead of Sunday's internal election of the New Patriotic Party. You're welcome to Prime News.
Thank you. And thank you to all your viewers.
Have you taken your supporters by surprise by taking this decision?
Very much so. As I told you guys in the press conference, there has been a lot of crying, anguish, and disappointment because it was a surprise and a shock to everyone. I have worked with them for the past, I can say, 3 or 4 years. Okay, I have built trust and love among us. So it was obvious to everyone that I was going to win this election overwhelmingly. Unfortunately, I had to step down for personal reasons.
What are these reasons? Can you share?
The reasons are that I am a Ghanaian citizen with a U.S. passport. And under Article 94 of our Constitution, you have to show allegiance to no other country but Ghana. So I began the process of renouncing my U.S. citizenship. I began that on the 4th of April. It was supposed to have been completed today. And after that, I would have received possibly the final letter of renunciation from the U.S. Within 3 to a week, but barring all unforeseeable circumstances. Since I'm not sure of the unforeseeable circumstances, and I didn't want to put the party in jeopardy, I decided to resign or step down this time, to bring calmness and peace to Sechekumo and the party.
Are you showing your support to any of the aspirants, the remaining aspirants?
Right now, no. Right now, no, because I want to be able to work with anyone who wins the contest. And I also strongly believe that this by-election will hang on me a lot because, I believe I'm the one that people of Sechekumo know and know very well. And I'm the one who really has to play a very active role in order for MPPs to really win the seat.
Finally, what does the picture look like in terms of your political future?
I think it looks bright. I have proven to everyone that I'm a selfless leader, and I have been selfless for a long time, serving this party. I would love to be an MP, and I still have the goal of becoming an MP. But there are many, many other roles within the party structure that I can play.
So that's lawyer Edward Osei. He has just given out that announcement of withdrawing from the race, which will be on Sunday. But when you come here, the aspirants whose name or who have been listed on the notice of poll are crisscrossing the electoral areas within the constituency and are engaging with the delegates ahead of the on Sunday.
Thank you for that update. That was our Ashanti regional correspondent, Hafiz Tijani, who is bringing us news that one of the MPP parliamentary aspirants for the upcoming Kumewu by-elections, Edward Kofi Osei, has withdrawn from the race.
Now to some news in the economy. Ghana's economy grew by 3.1% in 2022. This is according to latest figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service. The services sector recorded the highest growth of 44.9% compared to the 48.5% recorded in 2021, while the agricultural sector recorded a 20.9% growth for the year under review. The Statistical Service further revealed that the economy grew by 3.7% in the fourth quarter of 2022. Here is the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna Enim, highlighting the drivers of the growth in the economy.
From an annual perspective, the value of the economy in 2022 was 610 billion, specifically 610,222 million Ghana cedis for the year 2022. This is in current terms. In constant terms, the value of the economy for 2022 was almost 180 billion, and from a non-oil perspective, the value of the economy in 2022 was 169 billion. Given the respective values in 2021, from an oil perspective, the economy grew by 3.1% in 2022 relative to 5.1% in 2021, indicating a dip of about 2.0 percentage points between the periods 2020 compared to 2021 and 2021 compared to 2022. From a non-oil perspective, we have equally recorded a dip of about 2.8 percentage points, as from a non-oil perspective, the economy grew by 6.6% between 2020 and 2021, and between 2021 and 2022, the economy grew by 3.8%.
That was the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna Inim. Now, some floriculturists and florists have indicated that there is great potential for the floral industry, although sales has witnessed a decline in recent years. According to some floriculturists, the country abounds in plants and flowers. Thus, an investment in the sector will give rise to the growth of the industry. There is more in the following report.
Today, we explore the floral industry with particular focus on the natural plants and flowers. The country abounds with plants and flowers that any good florist could use to create beautiful decorative pieces. Following the lockdown period, as a result of the COVID pandemic, it was perceived many people made it a hobby to tend plant and flowers in their gardens. Apart from serving beautification purposes, flowers convey several messages such as romance, empathy, sympathy, and other well wishes. Flowers come in different shades and colors. A rose here, an ivy there, hibiscus, royal palms, and many more. The industry equally creates several employment avenues for the teeming youthful population of the country. Prosper Abuchi, who has been in the business for over 7 years, walked us through his daily activities as a florist.
Garden work, all the time there is work. Every day is like farming. Every day you weed, you take bad weeds out of the plant so that the plant will get itself and grow well. So all the time there is work.
How has business been over the last few years, post-COVID?
It is not like after the COVID, it is not like the olden days how things have been moving. After the COVID, business come down. It depends. Sometimes the market will come. Sometimes you can come, you will not sell anything. Sometimes you will come and you can sell something. That is also the average there. Okay, for now, maybe 100 cedis for the average.
On a typical day that market or business is really good, how much can you say?
Or maybe 500 cedis, 400 cedis. But the market would depend the type of plants you have. Maybe people can come around and looking for some flowers. Maybe you don't have. All those things consider. So if you have a lot of plants, you can make more sales.
Prosper tells Citi News some of the challenges which he confronts. He mentions the lack of finance capital as a limiting factor to grow his business.
What are some of the difficulties you face?
That's money. Because
if you say money,
you can see I have a platform, very big platform over there, that I'll make this type of pots, flower pots. You can see over there. But I don't have money, so I have to I have to be looking for some money before I can do that. So money too is one. If you have money and you invest, that's where you can also see something.
Felicia tells Citi News that the inspiration of a female florist who tries to make livelihood for herself through tending plants and flowers.
People like female gardeners a lot.
So when people came and you are a lady like this, they like to buy from you. So I will engage my female girls that they should also engage themselves in such business. They shouldn't be feeling shy that maybe this is for boys or this is easy. It's simple for them to do it, because as a lady you can do watering. It's not easy, or it's not compulsory for you to weed. So you can water the flowers every 3 days. Then you gain your money. So that's how it is.
So which particular plant or flower do people normally patronize?
People normally like indoors, and the outdoor too is nicer. For example, these spider plants, they like it very much, and the indoors, they like agronema. We have agronema red and pink. So they like. We have a lot of agronema. So let me say almost they like all the flowers because.
So your final words to someone watching you, any concern, any encouragement, final words?
Yes, I will encourage those who are doing the flowers to keep on, to go on and do it, so that I know definitely by all means one day it shall be well with them. So they should have courage in it and do it. It's good.
We chanced upon Mr. Jemesi, who had come to patronize some of the natural flowers, and he tells us the love he has for flowers.
So we just want to pick your thoughts why you are choosing to buy the natural ones instead of artificial.
Oh, as Africans as we are, we grow with the forest and we grow with the green trees. So it's just beautiful and it feels natural to have the natural flowers in your house or where you feel to plant them rather than the artificial one. For me, I don't really do the artificial stuff. So that's it.
So in terms of keeping and maintaining them, with respect to cost and resources, what will you say about that?
Once you love it, you don't think about cost. First of all, if you don't love the plants and the flowers, you don't come for them. So once you love them, cost keeping them and making them feel part of your family is a natural thing. It comes naturally. For me, I love flowers. So honestly, I will encourage everybody out there that if you're considering between a natural flower and the artificial one, please come around, just drive around. You get natural, beautiful flowers, beautiful plants in your houses, in your hotels, your guest house, wherever. It's very beautiful and it gives them employment as well. Not everybody has the opportunity of going to be a medical doctor, a teacher, a nurse, or a journalist like you. This is their profession as well, so let's support them.
With the abundant plants and flowers in the country, can the country leverage on it to maximize its economic potentials?
That report was put together by Citi News' Emmanuel Opong.
Now, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is yet to send relief items to victims of tidal waves in the Agnoga district of the Volta region 3 days after the disaster. Hundreds of residents of Agokeji and surrounding areas were rendered homeless on Sunday after tidal waves swept through their communities. Some of the victims were those relocated from Fuvime last year after a similar incident. Speaking on the Breakfast Daily Show on Citi TV, Volta Regional Director of NADMO, Ivy Ameuga, explained the challenges with collating the number of affected persons to guide the distribution of relief items.
The numbers that I have here, the details, and just what we are able to get now, assessment is still going on.
Okay.
You cannot move in with this number and then start sharing. At least you must get a concrete detail of those that have been affected, the number of people before you can move in with any relief that you can give them. So once we get our details and then the report, which I believe will be coming in this morning, from the district director of NADMO, we will forward it to the headquarters.
Ivy Ameuga is the Volta Regional Director of NADMO. And that's how we answer to Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, you can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Ubobisa-Coleman, and this afternoon I was here with
Charles Osukumi.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News.